my most passionate video I've ever done. It's almost incredible that I have to convince you of this because reading is the best. I want to make you want this. I want you to close this video and just go and see I want to experience that. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Reaching with a Y. I am very excited. I'm always excited when I'm doing a video because I just like talking with you guys. But today is a special episode, and as you can see, I am not as I usually am, a little bit farther from the camera. I'm close to you. I'm close because this is an important topic. This is the most important thing. And this is what I literally spend all my time doing with my friends that do not like to read. Literally. And this includes my mom. Hi, Mom. My mom and my sisters and my cousin and a couple other friends I have that I'm all the time trying to convince, pleading with them. Please, you need to read. Books are the best. So I just want to be close to you for this episode. I want to be close, and I want you to feel me as if I'm grabbing you by the shoulders and telling you, this is going to change your life. You're going to love this. You're going to love it. If you finally decide to start reading, you are going to love it. So that's why I'm so close to you. This is the first of a 2-part video or series in which I'm trying to help you read better, especially not self-help books, but fiction books this 2025. And I decided to do 2 videos so that it is a little bit shorter and you don't get tired of me all the time talking, and also so that I can tackle really well the first part and then really well the second part. So the video, this one, is why you must read, why it is important, why it is great, and then in that second video I'm gonna give you how you can start this, what are things that you actually can do, not only Melanie giving you philosophy, but what are things that will actually help you improve your reading habits this 2025. Let's start. Why would you read? The reason why I want to give you a video about the reason of reading is that for forming any habit, you need to be convinced that you really need it. You need to be convinced that it's something important, because you can bring all your habits, all the good things that you could do, but if you're not convinced that it is actually a good thing, if you're not convinced that you really, really need it and that this is going to be something life-changing for you, or it's something essential to include in your life, then you're probably not going to get too far. It's like with health. Let's say you can do okay, I'm not gonna drink a lot of alcohol, and then you get these 10 steps of how to not drink alcohol. If you're not convinced that alcohol is actually harming you, or not necessarily alcohol, any other thing that you think is harming you, not exercising, whatever, if you're not convinced that that is actually being harmful for you, then you are going to soon give up on your steps and you're trying to do this. So I just want you to be convinced, so then you can be given to this amazing cause of reading. And it's almost incredible that I have to convince you of this because reading is the best. But I understand. I actually have been there where you are. I used to love reading when I was a child. I would read in the supermarket because my mom would not buy me a lot of books. She didn't have the money to be buying me books all the time. So I would go to the store with her, and I was little enough that I would have to sit on the cart, and then I would grab books and I would just read them. And if I was reading a novel, for example, Twilight, I read Twilight this way. I was in the supermarket cart and I was reading the novel while my mom was just pushing me and just doing the shopping, and that was my reading hour. So I used to love to read, but there was a point in my life in which I stopped reading, and I just became so busy and so full of other stuff that I stopped reading, and I just could not pick up a book. I really couldn't. I really could not read. So even though I knew how good was reading, even though I had I could have memories of how good reading was once in a time, once upon a time, I still could not convince myself in that moment to read. I just had lost completely my habits. So I understand where you might be, and that's why I want to take you out of it, and I will give you the ways in which I came out of it. So the first way was understanding, being super convinced of the why. There are a lot of health benefits of reading, namely things for your body. It can help concentration, it can help understanding, it can help with your memory. However, today I do not want to talk about those body ways health benefits that reading can bring you, because there are other stuff that can bring health benefits. I want to talk about one more deep and important thing than even our bodies. Our body is really important, don't get me wrong, it is important. We are both soul and body, and our bodies matter. But what I'm trying to say is that what distinguishes us from any other animal, any other being in the world, is that we have reason, that we have a soul, that we have a heart, however you want to call it. We have that capacity, that reasoning capacity that every other animal lacks. For example, a plant has its body and has needs in its body, but it doesn't have the reasoning that we possess. Even animals that I would say have more reasoning than a plant has, or something like reasoning, but it's not as our reasoning. It's not the type of reasoning that we have. So we have this main part of us that is our reasoning and our soul. We can nourish our bodies all that you want. We can nourish it and it's gonna be good. Like, we can do exercising, we can have food, we can all that. But if we don't nourish our souls, our reasoning, our intellect, then we're just gonna be unhappy and depressed. Bear with me. I know it sounds a little bit philosophical, but it is not. I will give you a very simple example. If you have a car, right? What is that makes a car a car? What is its essence, its nature? What is that distinguishes from my phone or from my bed? Well, what makes a car is that it can drive us places. It has a motor that allows it to move. If you have this car brand new, beautiful, perfect, and you just park it in your house and you never use it for the reason for why it was intended, then it's gonna break eventually. It's gonna stop working, and by the time you want to use it in some years, then it's not gonna function properly because you didn't put the essence of the car into practice. It's the same with us. If we don't use our minds, if we don't use our reasoning, that was how we were created, then we are going to just wither. That word is so like intellectual. We're just going to get sad and depressed and not gonna be as happy as we were created to be. And you might say, Melanie, okay, but for using my reasoning and my intellect, I don't have to read stories. I don't have to read science fiction and fantasy and historical fiction. I simply have to do math or do puzzles. And that's okay. I can give you that. You can simply do that, and that is gonna help your mind. Okay, yeah, good. But the type of thing that a story can do to your mind, that type of thing cannot be done by math or by a puzzle. And is what Tolkien called escape. That's a very interesting word that we have to be careful when we use, because when I say escape here, I'm not saying it in a negative sense. If we have the word escape, there are two ways in which you can escape. Let's put it this way to make it more understandable. You can escape from something in a negative sense. You can escape from your life in a bad way because you are not living your life. You are hiding from it, escaping from it. For example, if you are using your phone and you are dumb scrolling, that is escaping real life. You are in this world of your phone that is not the real world, and you are escaping from facing your family and your friends and the thing that is just in front of you. So that's a bad way of escaping. But there's another way of escaping that is a good way of escaping, and it's when you escape from something that is actually bad to the real thing. So when you are escaping from, if you're in prison, in jail for something you didn't do, and then you are able to escape to come back home, then that's a good way of escaping. The same happens with your phone. If you're dumb scrolling all the time and you finally get the opportunity of putting that phone down, you escape from this fake life that the internet was trying to sell you. So when we say that with books, we can escape, we're not saying it in a negative way. We're saying it in the correct way. With books, I'm not escaping from real life. I am escaping to real life. I'm gonna read this quote from Tolkien because I think it's so good. He said, "Why should a man be scorned or reprehended if, finding himself in prison, he tries to get out and go home? Why, as some people say, oh, you're just escaping from your real life by getting into your little stories. That's not what the person is trying to do. They are trying to escape a prison, a bad place, and then go into the real life. And again, you may ask me, and you would be right to ask me, in what sense, when I'm reading books, I am escaping to real life? If I'm like in the fake stories of dragons and princesses and I don't know, in a romance story, that's not real life. Well, the thing is that when I say real life, I don't mean like real life as the street in front of you or something that you can touch. I mean real life as those real values that are lost in the darkness of the world. There's just so much darkness, so much brokenness, and I would say even the monotonous life it creates like kind of a veil in front of our eyes, and we cannot see anymore what has always been there. Like when you all the time go to bed at night and then wake up in the morning and go to work and you're tired and you do your boring thing and then you see the same people and you walk the same street and you it's like as if a veil is in front of you and you cannot see anymore what is in front of you. Like real life is this life, right? We can all agree with that. I don't think real life are my little princesses and kings from these books. I know that's not the real life. The thing is that when I'm reading these stories, they are able to shake off that veil of monotonous existence, and they're able to shake off that unrealistic lifestyle that we see on Instagram and on TikTok, and make us see things as if they were new, as if they were just created for the first time. Another example is you can go to Europe. I have never been in Europe. I have a great desire of living there one day, and I will probably succeed because I have my plans already. But once I go there, I am probably gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like if I end up going to the UK and I stay in this small beautiful town and I'm just like, oh my, look at the mountains, look at the houses, look at the roads, look at the little animals, I'm gonna be excited and I'm gonna think that everything is so beautiful and my heart is gonna be like, oh. But maybe for someone that has lived there for so long, it's so familiar that they have lost the awe. They have lost the ability to see like, oh wow, this is actually amazing. It is not normal to have these mountains next to me. It's not normal to have these beautiful houses and these beautiful roads. And they just cannot see it anymore. And what books are doing when we read them, they take us to this other world in which we are now in an unfamiliar place, and we can see as if for the first time with our own eyes values that we couldn't see before, like family and friendship and love, and we can see things that are bad like hate, and we're just like, I have done that before, but I didn't see how I was hating people because I was just so used to it that I didn't see how that was actually a bad thing. So like books are able to do what nothing else can do. These stories in these books are able to do this. They're able to bring us back, to wake up our minds and our desires and just give us this joy that we were created for. Somebody said, I forgot where I read it, but he was saying like, when I am reading Tolkien, when I'm reading The Lord of the Rings, and I close the book, life doesn't feel less real. Life feels more real than it felt before I had read the book. It happened to me one time when I was younger. I was a teenager. I spent hours, and when I mean hours, I'm saying like 2 days straight reading this story back to back. I read this novel. I closed the novel. I go outside. It was super rainy. It was like the rain had just stopped, and I went outside. I was in my pajamas, and I stepped in the street. Literally, I just went outside my house. I just went to the street without shoes, and I am stepping in this wet street, and I can remember this because it was such a like enlightening moment. I could feel every little stone on my feet. I could feel the little drops that were still like falling from a tree. I was looking at the sky and it was great. It was like a gray sky. There's nothing beautiful about that. I live in Minneapolis, and when here it gets gray and dark, it's just like sad. Well, I look at that great sky and I was just like, this is amazing. That's the sky. And these are the stones and the trees. And I could feel like the cold air. And I was like, wow. Every pore in my body felt like absorbing life so much more because I had spent hours in this unreal world that have never existed and will exist. But it just opened my eyes to the marvelous world that is actually out there. And that is why, and I get emotional with this because it's just so beautiful. that is why you should read books, because your soul, your heart, your reasoning, your intellect were not created to be stationed and just go over the same damn. No. You were created for more. You were created for enjoying these little things, for waking up in the morning and just looking at an apple and saying like, wow, this is like round, and it is red, and it tastes good, and it's like savoring for the first time as if you were a child. And the only way that at least I have, well, traveling I guess helps when you go and see new places, but the only way that I have learned to see the world in that way is when I'm reading my book. When I am reading, I'm just like transported to this other world, but then once I close it, I come back to this world and I am more able, my eyes are more able to see the reality in front of me and enjoy those little things that we just pass by and forget to enjoy. As I said, this is just a short video, and it's just because I just want to like whet your appetite. I want to make you want this. I want you to close this video and just go and see like, I want to experience that. And this is true, like whoever reads a lot, they know that I am like, just ask your book nerd friend and they will tell you the same thing. This escaping is not really escaping. Well, it is really escaping, but it's escaping from the unrealistic to the real thing. And I'm sure of this. I'm sure. I can do a bet with you that if you get into the habit of reading, and it's not like it's always easy, because like that's why there's a second video that you should come and watch about how you can get into this habit. But once you get into the habit of it, no one is going to be able to take you out of that habit, because you're going to be really living for the first time, and you're going to be experiencing things that nothing else can make you experience. And your intellect, your reasoning, your soul, that is the most, in my opinion, again, important part of who you are as a human being. It's just going to be so happy and so like, I don't know, my words are not enough to describe this, but I really encourage you, please just read, okay? Just grab a novel. Just do it today before the next video comes out. Just come and enjoy what we book crazy people are enjoying. This is everything for today. My most like passionate video I've ever done. I could talk about this for hours, but I won't. Please stay tuned. You can click subscribe and also hit the little bell. I don't know how to say that in English. The bell thing to activate the notifications. That's how you say it. Activate the notifications so that when the next video comes about the habits of how to read, you can immediately know that it is coming. So that's gonna be next Saturday. I try, with the help of God, and if my school allows me, to post every Saturday a new episode. So I really am excited for the next episode that is more practical, less philosophical. Leave me your comments. If you like to read already, what is that you like about reading? What is that thing that you would tell someone like, please, you should read because of this? If there's a novel that you want to read and you're not sure, put it in the comments. If any recommendations on a book that you like, what should I start reading, Melanie? Like, also put it in the comments and I'll ask you a couple questions and see what is a good book for you and give you a recommendation of something I think might help you start reading and get trapped into the into the jail, escaping the jail. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching till now, and yeah, I'll see you next week.